the sake of me not having to repeat this every time. But listen, you all right? Everybody good? Okay, good afternoon, first of all. I'm glad to see y'all. I know I missed some of y'all last week. It's been hectic, man. There's been a lot of activity around here, bro, with foolishness. Hadn't been all y'all.
Yes,
I don't expect none of it from y'all. Y'all are 8th grade. Y'all are getting ready to be 9th grade. In how many months?
3 months. They told you have
Might as well say 2.
2 months. Yeah, because it's March.
They told you have yesterday.
Huh?
They told you have yesterday.
Well, I mean, they told me a lot of things, but we're going to cover it. Well, before we get into that, we're going to start with just a couple of questions to make sure I got this right. Raise your hand if your mother is alive. Okay. Raise your hand if you're going to see her tonight or you're going to see her soon. Okay.
Soon.
Raise your hand if you love them. Everybody. Raise your hand if you're from the waters. Good, that's good. I asked y'all that because I'm about to talk about your mom. Yeah. Look how you know. You talk about my mama. You didn't know your mama before you was born, right? None of you did, right? It's something you should know about your mother. I know she's at least about 12 to 13 years older than y'all, right? At least. You say 14? So she was a young mother, which is about the age y'all are right about now, right? A little bit older than that. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 6 boys. I got 4 y'all in here. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 6 boys is sexually abused before the age of 18. Did you all know that? Now here's the other thing. Less than 12%, which is a little bit, of those abuses actually get reported. So this is happening, but people don't usually come forward and tell because there's all kind of other problems once you tell. The shame. People don't believe you. 29% of all forcible rapes occur when the victim was under 11 years old. Under 11 years old, for those of you who may have little sisters or little brothers, or you're not that far removed from 11 yourself, you know how young 11 years old is. Children with disabilities are 4 to 10 times more vulnerable to sexual abuse than their non-disabled peers, which means little girls or little boys who have disabilities. And some of these can be learning disabilities. It don't have to just be physical deformities or what have you. I'm talking about learning disabilities. Little boys and little girls that are a little bit slow, developmentally delayed, are more vulnerable to being sexually abused. 93%, that's a high number, remember 93, of juvenile assault victims know their attacker. 93%. So that means most of the time, the victim knows. He's right. So here's how close. 34% of attackers are family members. Daddies, stepdaddies, mama's boyfriend, mama's friend. Stepmoms, cousins, uncles, partners.
Well, the stepmom are prettier.
Well, I'm covering this with you because you all are at an age where you need to understand this. High rates of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, dissociative disorders, interpersonal relationship dysfunction, sexual problems, suicidal ideation have all been identified to varying degrees among men and women who survive sexual abuse. Now, my question to you is, could that kind of a thing affect someone's ability to parent? Okay. People who have been abused as children are more likely to be abused again as adults or be victimized or be a victim of a sex crime like an assault or an attempted assault or rape or that kind of a thing. When children who are sexually abused are not treated, society must later deal with resulting problems such as mental health issues, drug and alcohol abuse, crime, suicide, and the perpetuation of a cycle of sexual abuse or other types of abuse like physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse. The reason why this is important is because people come to be the way they are through different kinds of circumstances. So if somebody's abusive in any kind of way, the chances are they themselves may have been a victim of abuse at some point in time. Now, I said I was going to talk about your mom, but before I do, I got to tell you this. Right now in the city of New Orleans, there were 244 reported rapes in 2014. There were 409 reported rapes in 2015. That's an increase of 68%. I'm going to tell you again, 244 in 2014 and 409 in 2015. But you also got to remember too that this is very underreported. These are just the ones that are reported. Now, you also should know, and it's interesting when you're talking about rapes.
Wait, then you said only 13% reported, right?
Yeah.
So that means
These numbers are way bigger.
So it's way bigger than like than the 200s and 400s, probably like thousands or something.
Yes. But now, is rape about sex?
No.
What is rape about?
Abuse.
Well, abuse means when you go too far with something. Rape is about power. One person taking power over another, or taking power from another. That's what rape is about. It's 68% increase in the reported ones, so you know it's happening on a ridiculous level. Now check this out. New Orleans is and has been in the top 3 U.S. cities with HIV diagnoses. Did you know that?
Isn't Atlanta number 1?
Atlanta isn't number 1 right now. Miami is actually number 1.
So Atlanta number 2.
No, New Orleans is number 2, and Baton Rouge is number 3. In those 3 cities, as well as Atlanta now, in the mix, they rotate in 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, but we live in New Orleans, which is always in the top 3. So what's interesting is the rapes have gone up, and so is the HIV rate. Yes.
Even little girls got HIV too?
Yeah.
You were saying?
Well, let me tell you something. HIV has become the number 1 killer of black women ages 25 to 40. Now, some of your mamas may be in that 25 to 40 range.
Well, my mom's friends had died from HIV.
So you see,
She had got raped when she was young.
you see that? So did y'all hear what he said? One of his mama's friends had gotten raped while she was younger, and she died of HIV. So this is a very real thing. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm telling you this because I tell you the truth. I tell you the absolute truth. Well, back to your mama. Can you imagine your mama being a little girl, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old? Because y'all didn't know her then. Well, she was, though. Now, I said 1 in 3. 1 in 3 girls victimized, abused. 1 in 3. Think about that. It starts with, and we had the lesson about boundaries already. But it starts with, say, girl, come here. No. A lot of times dudes be mad, call a girl out her name, or they go over there, pull on her, right? Raise your hand if you ever pulled on a girl. Like, say, baby, come here. I mean, even that.
Oh no, I only go with my girlfriend. That's the only time.
Right, but okay, so if you have never
Only when
done
I'm playing
it,
around.
but I'm saying if you have never done it, great. But what happens is, people who take liberties of calling girls and women out of their name, pulling on them, jacking on them, what ends up happening is, becomes a habit. Sometimes a girl might say no, a boy stop, but they keep going. See, when a girl says no and she says stop, we supposed to honor that. Or we've been intimate with her before, and I know the truth. A lot of the times, the girls are also messing with y'all. You see, I know the truth. Many of you in this room are sexually active, have been sexually active already, and have been sexually active for maybe some years. I understand that. I ain't pointing at nobody, but that's why I'm talking about dealing with the real. I ain't talking about something that's going to happen when you're older. I'm talking about what's already happening now. So already now, you're at risk of getting HIV. If you're sexually active, you're at risk. I'm just being real with you. You may even be making bad comments to girls about what you're going to do, sexting, taking pictures with your cell phone, sending pictures of your penis. You understand? All in the DM. See, listen to me, stay focused. Making these comments and sexting, those things are problematic. the girls may be like, oh, yeah, but when somebody else finds out, they may become embarrassed.
Or cry.
And when they become embarrassed
They flip
or
the switch
cry,
on you,
as he said, they flip it on you,
and they think
and they say that they didn't have nothing to do with it, you made them do it. Listen, you can say it's wrong, you can say it's low down, you can say whatever, but it happens all the time.
Guilty
you got the power.
And the likelihood of a black boy being caught up in something like that is extremely high, because people are already looking at you all thinking that you are menaces to society, that you're animals, that you're wild, that you would do anything. So when a girl or a woman says, he did this and that, they tend to believe her. Now, what could also hurt is if you have any kind of a reputation as being the dude that talk about, hey, she a little thought, or that type of stuff.
Like this girl,
Uh-huh.
she smashed a lot of dudes at the same time,
Mhm.
and like the video got put on viral and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and then when the police, like my mama told the police, and then she like flipped it on all, she rated on all them shit, like everybody raped, all them rape times.
Right. He's got a great point. He said, in that particular instance, the girl did something that she was ashamed
And
of.
told the lie.
She was ashamed of, right?
The whole
So-
basketball team.
So here's, listen to me. Now you think that that's funny. You may have a daughter. That girl that did that was somebody's daughter. Now, why that's relevant is because 1 in 3 girls are sexually abused, and most of the abuse happens when they're under the age of 11. So, when you have these young girls that are y'all's age and younger that are so promiscuous and so flirty and so sexual, chances are somebody got to them. Because it's not all of them who do that. But the ones that do, they make themselves known, usually around 5th, 6th, 7th grade, 8th grade, or what have you. And you know that they're not old enough to have had all of these kinds of sexual experience, but they seem to know a lot about sex. It's because somebody likely abused them. So when you're a little boy, and I'm going to tell you, because see, nobody told me this when I was y'all's age, because I wasn't thinking about it. So I don't imagine that you're thinking about it either. And nobody told me this. But I'm putting it on your mind because think about your mom. Now, right now, see, you didn't know your mama when she was a little girl, but what if? What if? Now, women who have been sexually abused, as I gave you those statistics, they have very disassociative or dysfunctional relationships. That's one of the side effects of it. They have a lot of anger and hostility inside of them. And it comes out, particularly, guess where? On male children. On male children. So, what I'm saying to you is, according to the statistics, and what I've seen personally, women who have been abused like this are very mean and abusive to their sons. In particular, it's part of the side effect of having survived a traumatic experience like that.
So what they trying to do with this, like,
Well, what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean if your mom is hard on you that she was raped. 1 in 3 women, possibly as girls, have been sexually abused or raped and survived that. So, that anger, that shame, it goes somewhere and it impacts their relationships. I know that my mother was a survivor of abuse, okay? But I learned that long after. But it made a whole lot of things make sense in terms of why we had the kind of relationship that we had. You understand? Because a lot of times the things that happen don't make no sense to you. It's because you don't know what happened. You only know the little bit that you came in on. But I also read to you and explained to you how the women who have had these kinds of experiences, it's likely that they'll be victimized again by other sex crimes as they become older. They'll find themselves in situations with physically abusive boyfriends or sexually assault them, because I know a lot of people don't understand it, but like, if a woman says no and you take it anyway, that's rape. Even if that's your wife, even if that's your girlfriend, if she says no, and you push on and pursue it and take it from her, that is rape. And I'm not just talking about the legal definition, I'm talking about the moral reality of it. You took something from somebody. And I will tell you, because karma is a very real thing. Karma is not all bad thing, but what you put out there, you really do give back. There's not a bad thing that happens to me that I didn't have coming. See, I'm that real with myself. The same for a good thing. But you don't really ever get away with it, is what I'm saying to you. When you're young, oh man, we just doing whatever we doing. But you know what happens? Like you dudes that ran a train on the girl or whatever, gangbang, however y'all call it. Let me tell you something. See, you don't always get caught because people don't always report it. Most of the time, they don't. So you think you get away with it. But here's what happens.
How you said Tupac said she did the truth but told the lie.
Right. But here's what
They
happens.
recorded it and they sent it to local people, and then somebody snitched.
Well, here's what happens, though. The dudes who get away, you know what happens?
Come back
Come back to them
around.
in the future,
They have daughters.
and it happened to their daughter.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you don't get away with it. You feel like, oh, man, nobody knows it's cool.
Nas made a song about his daughter.
Yeah, like Nas made a song about his daughter, For My Brothers with Daughters. I called this. This was the song he's talking about, where he just acknowledged how it happens, you see? But we don't think about it then. Nas's daughter took some pictures and put them on Instagram, one naked with some rubbers. One of the daughters was talking to some dude that was in jail. You understand? I'm just saying that when things happen, be they favorable to us or not favorable, they're happening as a result of karma. You understand? So even all the good that I do now, and I do plenty, I don't deliberately and intentionally do any bad now. But every now and then, some bad comes my way. And I know it ain't about nothing I did last week. But whenever it comes, I can't say, Lord, why? I ain't never did nothing. Because see, you know what you do. Whether you get caught or not, you know what you do. That's just a little wisdom to you, because I'm telling you, when I was your age, nobody told me that. I was just wilding out, and I thought it was cool. And I mean, every time I got away, close call. I had to pay though. I still pay. So think about what you're doing. It all starts when we are texting or sexting or however you're doing, making comments on social media. She a thought, blah, 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 blah. I understand that's what people do, and that's part of the culture. But that's somebody's daughter you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a future mother you're talking about. So that doesn't help any of our people at all. Those kinds of things influence how these women raise their children when they have children, be it little boys or little girls. So it seems like I'm talking about something way, but I'm talking about something really right now. If you're doing any of this, or if you know people who are doing this, encourage them not to do it. Not just for the consequences, because sexual harassment, they call that, is a real thing, and people end up going to jail and losing their job and losing their money and losing their reputation over it all the time. And it's still not about sex, but it's about power. Do you understand me? I know that sex is on your mind a whole lot. One, because of your age, you got these feelings, these hormones. You understand? I get that. The music, the media, the video, the fact that it's always possible all the time. I know. So it's always in your subconscious. See the girl walking by with the nice behind you looking. It's always on your mind. I get that. But that's part of the reason why it's so easy to assault somebody, because it's already in your subconscious. You're already thinking about it even when you don't realize you're thinking about it. So when the opportunity presents itself, there it is, and before you know it, you see? And then I'm gonna give you one other little tidbit too when I'm talking about mamas. that have been sexually abused as children or as grown women. This is how the cycle is so bad. This is why when you do that to a girl, it has an impact you can't even imagine. Because here's what happens. Those mamas who have been victimized end up in some form or fashion abusing their own children. Now, I don't mean necessarily sexually. Most of the time, not sexually, but verbally, physically, emotionally. When your mama say you just like your no good ass Paul, that comes from somewhere. That don't just come from she was just mad. I mean, it came from somewhere. You understand? There's all kind of stuff she could have said.
But she chose that.
Because that's what she was thinking. So you gotta wonder what happened with them. I'm not saying he raped her. I'm just saying the way that we end up dealing with women affects the way they deal with other people, which affects the way those people deal with other people. So when you got a mama that's abusive like that, that turn around and make you don't like women. I don't mean it makes you gay. I'm saying it makes you not respect women. It makes you think lowly of them. Yes.
My mama do say that, but my mama cheated on my daddy, so that was going on with him.
Okay. You know your mama cheated on your daddy, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what your daddy did to your mama. I'm not saying he did anything. I'm just saying that we always have a version of the story.
And all I gotta say is,
We have a part of the events.
all I gotta say is, if you in a relationship with your girlfriend and you know y'all sexually active or whatever, me it happened to me plenty of times, but like over the summer, y'all sexually active or whatever, and you find out that she ended up doing it with another dude. I mean, something not good about you that she don't like, or it might even mean that she just not into you no more, or something like that.
But I mean, it's her choice in her body.
It's her choice in her body, but if you feel that you're doing everything right in your power and you give everything that she wanted, and she still going to do the things that she do, then hey, something wrong with her.
Yes, that
So-
happened to me during the summertime.
So you're already experiencing relationship issues, and that happens, and trust gets violated, and people become disloyal.
I mean, not now, but
And you yourself already realize that impacts the way that you deal with the next girl, right? Right? When you have an experience like that, that affects the way you deal with the next person. So, then the moral of the story is, it's a real thing, that girls are no different. If people are mistreated, it doesn't just stop there. It goes a lot further, and it impacts even the people they deal with. So the way you handle that is you treat people right off top. Even if you ain't been treated right, you still treat people right because it comes back. Whatever you do, it comes back. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to give y'all some real stuff that nobody gave me, bro. Think about where it all begins. Up here. When you see a girl, if you see her as an object, if you don't see her as a person and you don't respect her, or if your mama act bad with you and you don't care nothing about girls or women or whatever because you got a little animosity and tension about that. Again, it happens all the time, and I'm sure it's happening to somebody that you know if it isn't happening to you. Now, but think about the impact and think about the consequences. What if your mama act like she act with you because of what some dude did her when she was 11 years old? It very well could be the case. It's just that simple. You see, but you didn't know her then. You didn't know nothing about that, and you didn't have nothing to do with that. But guess what? You paying for it.
Can I
You
say-
paying for it. Yes, sir.
My mom said if you touch somebody, like if you touch a girl or something, she gonna burn your hands off.
Who is?
My mom, she was like, if you touch a girl or beat a girl or do something to a girl, I'm gonna burn your hands off.
Well, guess what? I got you. Chances are your mama has some experience with that. Let me tell you why. People don't have them strong feelings if they don't know nothing about it. You understand? It's something to think about. Yes, sir.
Like my mom, she was involved in some like physical abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I seen it, it like made me feel stronger towards like how women are treated and stuff.
Mhm.
So that's why like I just don't like disrespect them at all because it's like always gonna come back to me.
It's gonna come back.
if I disrespect you, like anybody got us, it don't matter.
It's gonna come back. I'm telling you, I'm standing before you as a grown man, been on the planet for more than 40 years. It comes back. And it come back with a vengeance. And she got physically in my face, like a dude would. And I really stopped. You know, I was
trying to.
but
Yeah, see, that's understandable.
but the worst, but the worst, but
You're supposed to walk off.
see, like he's saying, so listen, here's this interesting. Like you say, that's understandable. He said, no, you're supposed to walk off. There's different ideas about it. The thing about it is, it's real easy to Monday morning quarterback that. So the question is, what do you really do if and when you're ever in that position? And only you know the answer if and when you're ever in that position. The best thing to do is to never be in that position. That's the best thing to do.
You saying you'll do it? You hit him? I'm saying in that situation you would hit him.
I would have ran.
You
I
just
would
say that.
have ran me. I would like
I
stop.
would never hit Candy.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Don't.
yesterday, right? We played for you. She started talking about this move. And she really started doing things that, man, move.
Well, she might have had a, let me tell you about this. First of all, I would avoid play fighting with anyone because it could always turn for real. But I tell you, there could be something very deeper in your situation. I don't know it. But I have had the experience. Many of the women that I have been with have been victims of sexual abuse or survivors of sexual abuse. But many women or people who go through these things, they have what's called post-traumatic stress disorder, right? And so what happens is certain things trigger the memory.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen, and I've been involved in that. So, for example, and I don't know, and I'm not speculating because I don't know that situation, but if you're playing around with somebody and suddenly they get serious, and you know you didn't get serious, you was just messing around, it may be, they might kind of forget where they at, they might be reliving some other stuff. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, you just never know. You just never know. But listen to me. I want you to develop good habits. We talked about boundaries, and we do live in a society now where, unfortunately, too many boys and too many men think it is acceptable to hit and fight and play with girls in that type of manner. And there are too many girls nowadays that initiate that with boys. Oh, I understand. See, I'm not the dude talking about don't you ever. I know they got a lot of girls out here walking up to dudes, slapping them in the back of their head,
Some girls be
or
like,
pushing on them, or whatever the case is. So listen to me. Listen to me. Girls usually who are physical like that, that comes from a place too. You following me? Somebody mishandled them. You see what I'm saying? Because don't nobody like to be hurt. Nobody likes to be hurt. So if a person flips it, I said something to you, I read something called dissociative disorder. What that means is they kind of check out. And the reason they do that is a means to survive. Now, the ordeal, talked about being a victim of abuse. When he was 11, I think he said 19, 11, you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And
she
what
got raped.
no, he didn't get raped.
Abused.
It wasn't sexual abuse, it was it was his mama's
I didn't
boyfriend.
say no.
Mama's boyfriend used to just beat him. He would tie him to like a chair with a belt and just beat him. He would throw him out into the cold, into the snow.
I used to fight my mom's boyfriend.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, me too.
So how did you cope with that? He said, I told myself that this is just my body. You can't have my mind. And when he leave, this is over with. And that's what I did to survive that. But that's not a natural thing. So that means that that's a wound he got. Yes, sir.
Like when my dad went to jail, I was like 2 months years old, and he been in my life ever since, so I consider him as my real dad.
Right.
And he said that his grandmother used to, she didn't like his name because it was supposed to be something else, but I forgot what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But he was supposed to have another name, and every time like someone would ever say his name, she would start to beat on him and punch him and do other stuff like that, and like it kind of affected how he grew up. And like when he, like as he got older, he had a son, and he said he never like abused his son or nothing like that, but he only had to whip his son like a couple of times, even though his son is blind. And he said it really changed him as a person because, like, you growing up in a situation like that could really like hurt you, or like you could eventually end up going to jail for the same thing, and like beating on your child or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Adrian Peterson.
Can I say?
Yes.
All right. No, don't laugh when my grandma called my nickname. My other grandma from my mom's when I was by my other grandma, she was like, I don't like that name. That's a thug name. But every time she hear it, I remember at the time that she threw water in my face. I was like 7, 8. She threw water in my face. I got mad and I ain't like her never since. I don't even talk to her. That's the thing about it. I don't talk to her no more. And plus, when I do go over there, I only go over there for like Thanksgiving, and that's it. Just Thanksgiving.
So your situation is real proof about how a situation can occur that affects your relationships or ability to relate to certain people. You see what I'm saying? Somebody throwing water on you is abusive anyway. I'm not judging you.
You with me?
But you see,
Throw water. She used to beat me in the tub.
but how old were you? Wait,
With a
listen,
stitch
hold
of
on,
water.
y'all are listening. Y'all are laughing, but how old were you?
Look all these weather. Where you think I get this from?
How old were you? How old
She said
were
7,
you?
8.
Well, like 7,
8.
7 or 8.
Okay, so we're talking about something that happened less than half your life ago. So it's not that because it happened way back then, it's over now. Listen, y'all picking that up though, right?
Right.
It happened way back then, but it ain't over, and it has had an impact on him, and it affects the way he even deals with that
But
and
I don't
other
wanna tell him
people. We all have these things that we carry with us. But here at school, we want to make sure that we ain't doing that and that ain't happening because we want the girls to feel safe. You understand?
So I don't say stuff like that.
Right, but we want to but we also want to take a step further. We don't want to be doing it outside of here either. We don't want to be doing it online and social media. We don't want to be doing it with the text and stuff. And they seem like they're small, harmless little type of things, but it puts energy out there. And I'm just telling you as a man who was once a boy, who isn't proud of every decision I ever made, every decision I've ever made, be it good or bad, I have either had to pay or am paying for it or will pay for it. And you are no different than I am. The only difference is you haven't been on the planet that long. So the longer you live, you have lots of options to make good choices or bad choices.
Been on the planet for 14 years.
I would say choose wisely. But let's make sure that they feel good and they feel safe around here. And your teachers, I'll say this thing too, your teachers are women, most of them, right? Remember, they were once little girls. And they all were. Listen, and they also fall into that same statistic I gave you earlier about 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 6 boys who can sexually abuse or will be sexually abused before they're 18 years old. If you're caught up in a situation like this where you are harassing a girl in some kind of a way, your teacher may click out on you. She may relive an experience that she felt. She may feel a certain kind of way about boys or men because of an experience that she had long ago that ain't got nothing to do with you, that you didn't do and have nothing to do with.
She just.
But listen, we don't know. Let me be clear. You're laughing at that, but that's just like somebody laughing at somebody throwing water at you and whipping you. I'm saying it's the same thing. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Like, you don't think it's funny what happened to you, right? So I don't think it's funny either, but I'm trying to get you to have empathy to realize if something like that happened to her, it made an impression on her. And it just like what happened to you made an impression on you. And it very well obviously affects the way she deals with people and things right now. So that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody got a story. You just may not know it, but just because you don't know their story don't mean they don't have one.
Right.
So I would tell you to always consider that and realize that, again, if you are doing this and you're caught and your teachers have a certain feeling about it, it may be because of the time the little boy was doing it to her, she didn't say nothing because she was ashamed. But now she's a grown woman. When you are sexually abused or abused really in any kind of way, and it has a profound impact on you, like he's talking, only 1 or 2 things can happen. Number 1, you can become an advocate for people who are victimized, meaning you ain't gonna let it happen, you ain't gonna stand for it, you're gonna protect them, you're gonna be a vocal person about it, because you know it's real, because it happened to you. That's 1. Number 2, you yourself can become an abuser and repeat the same kind of behavior because, see, it happened to you. And I want you to consider this. People who suffer any kind of abuse, be it physical, verbal, emotional, sexual, psychological, any type of abuse, if they ever come face to face with the reality of that, yes, this happened to me, when they do that, that's why so many people don't report it, don't talk about it, pretend like it didn't happen or like it never happened, is because once they really confront that it happened, the next thing is the real big thing. They have to try and rationalize, well, why me? What's wrong with me that somebody would do that to me? They have to deal with that, and see, dealing with that, that's the moment where those two possibilities manifest themselves. Because for some people, the way they deal with it is say, it must just be normal. It just must be what everybody do. Because everybody must go through this. Because ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm just like everybody else. So they, in turn, do that to other people because it's just normal. You see what I'm saying? Because it happened to me, and I ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm just like everybody else. So this is normal. This is what happens with everybody. They take that on. Or they stand up and say, it happened to me, but it ain't going to happen to nobody I know. It ain't going to happen to nobody around me because I know what it's about. And only if you've been victimized and become a survivor will you know what that decision is all about. So I say in closing that I really, really, really want you to think deeply about the way you see women, the way you handle women, the way you talk to women. Think about your mama. Think about what she may have experienced. Think about what she may have experienced as a grown woman. I want you to really think about your teachers. If one of your teachers is talking, respect them because I don't even know what's happening with them. I don't know if their boyfriend cussed them out this morning. I don't know if she caught him cheating with a dude. I don't know nothing. I mean, you gotta understand something. I don't know if it was a black man look something like me. Like, I don't know. So I don't be like, excuse me, I don't even put my hands on him because somebody might have jacked on him one day. You just don't know. And even though I didn't mean any harm, who knows how they might react? So I'm not going to take that chance because I know the possibility exists. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Taking no chance.
You just have to remember the statistics. 1 in 3 girls or 1 in 3 women have been sexually abused. 1 in 3. That's a whole lot of people, bro. Oh, it's a sensitive subject, but we got to deal with it as young men and as grown men and do better for our future daughters, our future wives, for our mamas, and the rest of the women that are here to make sure we're not an enemy of women, even inadvertently. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take that with you and think about that. Tell your partners about it. You don't do it. Because I know it's easy to get caught up. Everybody got a song or a soundtrack talking about doing a girl this and taking it from them, messing over them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not new. This didn't just start. It's another good example of that same situation. He maintained the whole time he was in prison. He did about 11 months on that conviction. He pled guilty. He maintained his innocence, which most people do. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. Okay? But years later, she came forward and said, right, but the partners did. Because that happens a whole lot with the partners. You understand what I'm saying? And he accepted responsibility for it because they were his partners. And that wouldn't have happened had he not been who he was. So he took the lip. And he really took moral responsibility because he's around dudes that do that. Watch who you around and watch what you do. Because I'm going to tell you why, because somebody else is. And just because they don't say nothing, don't mean they didn't see nothing. Particularly with your teachers, bro. Cool?
Yeah.
All right, man. I love y'all.
Love you too, my Shaq.